Welcome back to the channel today, guys. In this video, we're doing something a little bit different. We're not out at the airport today. We're actually at the computer. We're going to be talking about flight tracking, specifically tracking blocked aircraft. You know, have you ever been out at the airport watching planes, doing some plane spotting, and you see one take off or you see one land, and you go to look it up on your favorite flight tracking website, and you get a message like this? The information on that plane is blocked, but there is a way to track blocked aircraft, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. You have to use an ADS-B flight tracker, and we're going to go over one of the best ADS-B flight tracker websites out there that I highly recommend, and we're going to talk about the two programs the FAA has that allows aircraft owners to keep their information private, because it's helpful to know the difference, because it affects what information you'll be able to see, even on ADS-B, and it's helpful to know the differences. But first, I just want to make sure to remind you to subscribe if you're not, and hit the bell notification right there so that you'll be notified the next time we go live at the airport or the next video that I post. And if you are an aviation enthusiast, make sure you hit the like button, give it a thumbs up, because that's what we're all about here, and it helps the YouTube algorithm to be able to spread this out to more and more viewers with each passing video. So we're going to go ahead and get started right now. What is ADS-B? ADS-B stands for Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast. Now, what this is a signal that is broadcast from the airplane as it's flying through the air from a transmitter on the plane up by satellite back down to the ground. And in the United States, it is not illegal for anybody on the ground with an ADS-B receiver to receive this information and to rebroadcast it by means of feeding it to a flight tracking site such as ADS-B Exchange or FlightAware, Flight Radar 24. You can become a feeder to all those sites because they're all basically crowdsourced flight tracking. So that's what ADS-B is. And now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So this is a website called adsbexchange.com. And they are a flight tracking site. As you can see, they've got a number of links on their homepage. The most important one that we want to focus on right now is the tracking map right there. So we can go ahead and pull up the tracking map, and now you can see that I've got the map set for the United States. Now this is showing all airborne aircraft in the United States, and if I was to expand out, you would see it all over the world, really. So let's go ahead first and take a look and pick a random airplane and see what information looks like. Okay. So this is a regular aircraft that's not blocked. Now, this website uses raw data. This is unlike FlightAware or Flight Radar 24, where it does not show you the scheduled arrival times, scheduled departure times, destinations, origins, and all that airport helpful airport information like those websites do. This is only giving and displaying raw ADS-B data. So let's take a look and see what this raw data looks like. So you can see here we have pulled up a random flight, Southwest Flight 350. There's a picture of it right there. They have a connection with a website called planespotters.net where they get their photos from. They pull photos for each of these aircraft. And you'll see the registration number, United States, the owner of the aircraft type, squawk code, that's for air traffic control. Actually, if we click on history, you can see only that one plane right there. Under spatial, you're going to see the airspeed or the ground speed. We're going to see the altitude, barometric altitude, radar altitude, the vertical rate of climb. This plane is apparently still climbing. It just took off out of Detroit, it looks like. GPS position right there. Signal, the source is, of course, ADS-B. It says right there. FMS is the flight management system on board the aircraft, the computer. This is the altitude that the pilots have it set for on their autopilot currently. Let's see, wind is not available. Speed, there's your ground speed, your altitude. There's a whole section for altitude right there. Direction, there's a whole section for that. The compass heading, the track of the aircraft's flight, the magnetic heading, distance. If we go down here to stuff, you'll see one category here, which is one section in this category, which is called category. I got it highlighted right there. And that is the weight classification category of the aircraft. Now, this is not really normally a real helpful bit of data, especially if we know what kind of plane it already is, but this will come in handy later on. Accuracy is related to the signal, the ADS-B signal itself, and so you can export other information right there. And we can zoom in. We can actually see that the plane took off from Detroit. And let's go ahead and turn on labels. So the raw data that ADS-B is receiving every so many seconds includes the speed and altitude of the aircraft. And it goes all the way back to when the plane is actually on the ground. And ADS-B, it looks like, began transmitting when they were on the runway, departing to the north, right there at the Detroit Metro Airport. So we can zoom out, right that. And like I said before, this is only raw data, so we do not know the destination of Southwest Flight 350. So on a normal aircraft that's not blocked, I like to still use Flight Radar 24 because at least you'll know where it's going to, as that information is published, but this website uses only raw data. So let's go ahead and clear that out. So that was an example of a normal aircraft, ADS-B. Now we're going to talk about the blocked aircraft. Let's just go ahead and center up the map over here. All right. So, like I said before, there are two programs that are available from the FAA that allow pilots to keep their information private. Let's talk about the first and the most popular one that a lot of pilots take advantage of, and that's called LAD. All right, so what is LAD? LAD stands for Limiting Aircraft Data Displayed. Now, with this program, the registration information of the aircraft itself will still be published, but the flight information will not be published. Now we come back out to the map here. What we can do is we can go on the side panel here of ADS-B Exchange. Under Filters, see that right there on the right, we can select the filter for LAD, and we can filter out only aircraft that are operating blocked under the LAD program. This is these are the only ones that are currently airborne. So let's go ahead and take a look at some examples of limiting aircraft data displayed. Let's go back down here to the Phoenix area, and if we look at these, okay, that's one. Down here at Gateway, there's a, CXK call sign, another CXK. This one's probably CXK right there, CXK right there. Since I'm based here in the Phoenix area, I can tell you that I already know that the CXK call signs belong to the ATP Flight School. They have a couple of locations in Arizona, and one that I know of is over here at the Gateway Airport. And it's very common to see ATP Flight School aircraft flying around, doing some training flights. There's another one on the ground. The aircraft in gray, colored gray on this map, are on ground. The colored ones are colored depending on their altitude. So there's another ATP aircraft. These are all, and the ATP Flight School has blocked all of their fleet of aircraft under the LAD program. So in this Arizona area, you're going to see a lot of those. Let's take a look at this one over here. November 657 Alpha Tango. Okay, let's go to FlightAware, and let's type in November 657 Alpha Tango. Okay, Audrey Enterprise. This aircraft is showing up as blocked. This is an example of a blocked aircraft, okay, under the LAD program. So let's go back to ADSB. And if we go over here and let me get back on over here. Go back over here to the left-hand panel and let's check out what information. There's no picture of this aircraft because apparently planespotters.net does not have a photo of it, but we can still see the data. 657 Alpha Tango is a Gulfstream aircraft. Yep, it's a Gulfstream aircraft. There's your type designation and a squawk code. You can see where the database flag is flagged as a LAD aircraft. And you can see, we zoom in a little bit more on it right there. You can see this one is flying at 47,000 feet, 0 vertical rate. So they're cruising at 47,000. You can see the speed right there. Source of the signal is ADSB, of course. You have all your same information as a regular unblocked aircraft, including speed, altitude, the direction. Okay, but of course we do not have an origin or destination. So the way you would track an aircraft, if you wanted to, let's say where is this aircraft coming from? Well, all you got to do is follow the track. Just follow the track. Let's take a look and see. Looks like they took off from the Miami International Airport. No, it's not Miami. Opa-locka Airport, right down there in South Florida. It took off, headed west. Actually, they had to go a little bit north and then west. And they are currently about to pass the Phoenix area en route to someplace we don't know where. There is no destination given, and the only way to track where this aircraft is going is simply to just keep your browser window open and just keep watching. Keep watching where this airplane goes. Let's clear that one out. And let's see what else we have here. Let's go up here to California. And there's one right there. November 1, Tango Sierra. All right. So let's head over to FlightAware. And we'll type in N1TS. Wilmington Trust Company. This is a aircraft finance company, but it's blocked. Information is blocked from public tracking per the owner of the aircraft. So if we go back to ADSB, we can see that this aircraft is a Boeing 737. $737-700. It appears to be it's a private aircraft. This looks like possibly a business jet. The Boeing 737 business jet, maybe. But they are descending. Vertical rate is going down, 29,000. So they are coming toward the San Francisco Bay Area. And I would say one of those airports, possibly San Jose, Oakland, San Francisco, would be a destination. You can see the altitude, the ground speed right there. The signal source, again, is ADSB. You have your altitude section, your direction stuff. The category of the 737 falls under the large category. So this is called a large category aircraft. And as far as where this plane came from, as far as tracking this plane and where it came from, well, again, just like the other one, all we have to do is just follow the tracking line. And this one came from Washington. It looks like Dulles Airport. Yep. This one came out of Dulles Airport in Washington. So this may be a government contractor, perhaps. They do block their aircraft sometimes. Possible government contractor flight right there. So that's another example. A larger aircraft. Now, like I said earlier, the flight data is blocked, but the aircraft is not, because, of course, we have a photo of the aircraft from planespotters.net. So you can go over to that site and type in the registration number and see a full-size actual photo of the aircraft. So the full data of the aircraft is available, just not any flight tracking information. So let's go ahead and close out of that. And again, these are all the current LAD aircraft that are on the map. Now, let's talk about the second program that they have for blocking aircraft. The second one is called PIA. What is PIA? Well, it stands for Privacy ICAO Aircraft Address. The ICAO is the International Civil Aviation Organization. And the aircraft address, well, every aircraft has a unique code, which is programmed into the plane's transponder and is transmitted to the ground so that the aviation, the FAA in this country, can know what kind of airplane it is. And the registration data, the type, aircraft type, all that stuff is encoded into that code. Now, there's several unique features of this program. No registration information will be available for any PIA aircraft. No flight data will be available for any PIA aircraft. Another feature is that pilots must use a third-party call sign. Now, normally on a private plane, your call sign would be your registration number. If you're a business aircraft, it might be the name of the business. Well, since that information is being blocked under this program, you obviously can't use your business or your registration number. So the FAA requires a third-party call sign, and we'll see that here in just a moment. The FAA will assign a unique ICAO code to the airplane that you have to program in, and it will be basically a ghost code. It will have no connection whatsoever to any data on the real aircraft. So it's basically a fake or a ghost code. And this program is available only to US registered aircraft. So coming back out here on the map, okay, we can go over here on the side panel and we can filter. You can change the filter to only PIA. Okay, this program is not as commonly used as the other one. Very few aircraft actually do this, but they are out there. So let's take a look at some PIA aircraft. This one looks like a helicopter. Based on, okay, so we have it pulled up over here. They're going along the coastline. You can see the call sign FFL418. Now, if we go over to FlightAware and we type in FFL418, okay, you see it says ForeFlight right there. Now, this one actually does come up on FlightAware. It's a position-only flight. From WHP Los Angeles. But if you look over here on the side, there is no aircraft information under the details here. Operator, ForeFlight, flight data, there is no information over there. Now, if we go back to ADS-B, so you see where it said ForeFlight. ForeFlight is one of the partners of the FAA in this program, in which they offer a service that provides a third-party call sign. ForeFlight is a company that makes flight planning software, and pilots can get a subscription to ForeFlight and be able to do things like file their flight plans, check their weather, calculate their fuel, do all sorts of flight-related things on the ForeFlight platform. And being a partner, of course, they offer this third-party subscription for a third-party call sign. But the flight is not a ForeFlight aircraft. It doesn't actually belong to ForeFlight. The call sign has nothing to do with the owner of the aircraft. If we look over here under the data, we can see that there's no aircraft data. Squawk code is, every aircraft has a squawk code. That's so they can communicate with the tower. But we can see the spatial, we can see the ground speed, 127 knots. They're kind of low. This is obviously a helicopter based on what I'm looking at right there. Let's go down here under category. Okay. Let me highlight the category right there. And you can see where it says rotorcraft. So this is the category of helicopter. But again, we don't know what kind of helicopter. Could be a medevac helicopter. It could be a Robinson sightseeing helicopter. It could be police helicopter. Could be just about anything. We can look up over here on the flight track map, and they've just passed south of the LAX airport. They're flying along the coastline, and they are pretty much staying along the coastline all the way up to Point Mugu, and then going inland over there. So they've traveled quite a way in the helicopter. So that's one example of a blocked aircraft. If you see a for-flight call sign, FFL, that is going to be a PIA, because that is the third party, one of the third party call signs. Let's go ahead and come back out on a full view and see what other aircraft there are. Okay, we have one right down here. This one is just north of New Orleans right now, call sign XAA2828. And again, we can go to FlightAware. And you can see it says Air Inc. right there. And this one is showing up as a blocked aircraft on FlightAware, as it should. So we come back out here to ADSB Exchange, and you can see that even though it is blocked on FlightAware and all the other flight tracking sites, we can see that this aircraft took off from the Miami International Airport. Took off from the north runway. They were parked at the FBO right off of runway 26 right there at Miami. So they flew from Miami, and they are currently north of New Orleans. Let me get back to that right there. And over here on the side panel, and once again, it is a United States aircraft. This program is only offered to United States, U.S. registered aircraft. But there is no information available. We have a squawk code right there. We have the altitude 42,000 feet. Vertical rate, looks like they're going down slightly. There's your GPS position of the aircraft. Signal, ADSB source. That's the signal information right there. Flight management computer on board the plane. Wind, speed, altitude. Now we go down here to stuff. And let me highlight stuff right here. So this is another large category aircraft. As you saw from the previous example, we had a large, that was a 737. Well, whatever this plane is, it falls into the category of the A3 category, 75,000 to 300,000 pound, the large category aircraft. And again, being a PIA, so we have no idea where this plane is going to, where the destination will be. We can find it only by continuing to watch it. And you can see right there on the side that the information is definitely very limited. In fact, the aircraft itself is completely anonymous. There's nothing in there about an owner, but the positioning of the plane can be tracked. If we go up here, pull out to the entire country, let's see if we see anything up there in the Northeast. All right, so we don't really have any more PIA aircraft that are currently operating. Like I said, this is not very commonly used, but you may still find one. There are a few other providers. This one here that we were just talking about was called Air Inc. on FlightAware. AirInc is a company that made aircraft communication equipment and communication standards. They're a very old company dating back decades. They're now part of Rockwell Collins, but they're very old school in aviation. They created a lot of the standards that are used today. And now, as a division of Rockwell Collins, they too are a partner and they offer the third-party call sign service. So we see two different companies here that offer third-party call signs, and that if you see a PIA blocked aircraft, a very good chance it may be one of these two. It may have a ForeFlight call sign, or it may have an AirInc call sign. It could also have one called DCM, which would be flightplan.com. They're also another partner. I can't show you one because there are no flightplan.com aircraft. What's down here? Yeah. So there are no other aircraft currently operating in the United States. Otherwise, I would show it to you. Now, another feature of ADSB Exchange is the ability to track military aircraft. Military aircraft also broadcast, most of them anyway, ADSB data. And this is kind of interesting because we can go over here on the filters on the side, and we can filter military. Now we see all the military aircraft that are being tracked, and let's go check some random military planes. This one has an empty call sign. This is a KC 135 tanker. I'm thinking that when the military wants to go private, they use an empty call sign, which is no call sign. Civil aircraft can't do that. This is the actual. They took off from Fairchild Air Force Base, and they're over here currently. Where was that? And they're doing some circles over here, together with another aircraft. And you can see if you look over on the side panel under, signal is MLAT. It's a slightly different type of signal, but this one is a RC-135 rivet joint. This is a surveillance type of aircraft, Topcat 93 call sign. This under signal, you can see ADSB right there. This one came out of probably Omaha. Offutt Air Force Base in southeastern Omaha, Nebraska. Now, like I said, these aircraft do show up sometimes on FlightAware. Let's Top CT 93. Let's go ahead and go over here to FlightAware. And let's type in that call sign. There's my cat getting his cameo appearance. All right, Topcat 93. I guess he must have heard me say Topcat. So, no, I have to type it again. All right. So we see this call sign Topcat 93. It does show up on FlightAware. Took off from Offutt, and the aircraft details, aircraft information does not show up here on FlightAware. The position, speed, and that sort of thing does show up. This is a position-only flight. So it may not be blocked technically on FlightAware, but if you go to ADS-B, you will definitely see more information about this aircraft and its flight. It looks to me like it's hanging around that KC-135 tanker. They're both flying together. I don't know if that's going to be a refueling exercise. It's quite possible. But you can see the information about the aircraft here, including the serial number and the type of aircraft, which would then allow you to look up the history on that aircraft serial. If we look out and see what other types of military, Kanza 48. This is a Boeing KC-46 tanker that took off, flew around Wichita, Kansas, and then headed up. So, and if you look over here, well, the source is MLAT, which is not ADS-B, but their information is still being broadcast to the ground and is still being picked up. So you can see that it is easy to track military aircraft on this site as well. Over here in Jacksonville, we have some helicopters. There's a Black Hawk chopper right there. So it is easy to track military aircraft as well. So coming back out here full again, there you have some information about tracking blocked aircraft. Hopefully you found some useful information for next time you're out at the airport watching planes and you want to find out where they're going to or where they came from. There's different methods, like I said, of blocking these aircraft. One will have the aircraft information blocked and the other one won't. So it is helpful to kind of see the differences between them. So if I want to say once again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right there and the bell notification right there. And you'll be notified the next time I go live out at the airport again. And don't forget to give it a thumbs up so we can get the algorithm going. If you are an aviation enthusiast, if you like this kind of information, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. So I will see you guys out at the airport next time. For now, take care.